want to ride?
No, I got my car, but I actually really need to go to the bathroom.
Dude, are you okay?
I am definitely buzzed.
Yeah.
I think I will take this, and I will take that ride home.
If there's one thing every car guy hates, it's cleaning the garage. Do you want to take most of the time and hassle out of that job? Then call Zone Garage of Eastern Pennsylvania and New Jersey. Agnes and her crew will have your garage, shop, basement, or even your porch looking great all the time. With unique patterns and designs, plus the ability to incorporate your logo or any artwork, your space will never have looked better. Installation is done in 1 day, guaranteed, and Zone Garage offers a 20-year warranty on the top coat. Their coatings are durable, anti-slipped, and impact resistant. Give them a call at 570-856-6067. That's 570-856-6067 for Zone Garage of Eastern Pennsylvania and New Jersey.
I'm Ryan Newman, and since I started with Indiana Donor Network and Driven to Save Lives, I found out that some people think that they can't be an organ donor. The truth is, anyone can sign up to be an organ donor.
Anyone?
Anyone?
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. Anyone can sign up to be an organ donor. So don't count yourself out because somebody's counting on you. Go to driventosavelives.org and sign up today.
But my heart's going to you, Ryan.
Love that shirt.
This Independence Day weekend, kick your party off with a bang. DeWeather Center presents the first annual DeWeather Cares Charity Softball Classic presented by the National Racing Network. The Palmerton Boobies, DeWeather Center Bluecocks, Blue Mountain I-95ers, Pocono Front Platers, Schuylkill County Crackers, Reading Nurses, Catasauqua Blue Tits, and Beltsville Lake Monsters will take the field in Emerald. Find out more on Facebook at DeWeather Center. DeWeather Center, offensively accurate. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Dover International Speedway, Dover, Delaware. Tonight, the High Slide Cup Series will round out their 2021 Season 2 campaign's regular season and set the 12-car playoff grid after 250 laps here this evening. My name is Chris Graham. It's a pleasure to have you joining us. Alongside James Watson and Patrick Byrne, Gresham Holla, Magda Zach are the producers this evening. Assistant producer and camera design by Connor Baldwin. And we'll get to James and Patrick here in just a moment. But first, let's tell you a little bit about the race course and some of the interesting things that have been introduced by the High Slide Cup Series for this particular race. This 1 mile oval is banked at 24 degrees, originally opened in 1969 as an asphalt racetrack, later reconfigured to a concrete surface, one of only 3 on the NASCAR Cup Series schedule, including Bristol and the Nashville Super Speedway. It's an overgrown Bristol. It's been described as Bristol on steroids, among other things. One thing that these drivers will absolutely be calling this place tonight is incredibly difficult all the way around. As we mentioned, this is round number 10, 250 laps the distance. Stage number 1 will come to a conclusion at lap 100, and there will be a yellow flag thrown at that time. Stage number 2 will conclude at lap 150 with a green flag stage conclusion. Last time the High Slide Cup Series was here, your winner was Jordan Probst. And let's bring in Patrick and James here. And gentlemen, we've got storylines on storylines here. James, as you would kind of expect, you're wrapping up the regular season. it's time to start mentally shifting your focus towards the playoffs. But first, you got to get through this big, tough challenge here at Dover. Okay, looks like we may have lost James Watson here for just a moment, but Patrick, you can go ahead and kind of answer that one here because you've been in these kind of playoff chases as well. This is now really the time to bear down and focus.
Yeah, and this is going to be one of the toughest tracks to do it at. This track rewards just consistency, hitting your marks lap after lap. You don't want to be having to fight to make that final playoff, the transfer spot at this track, just because of how dangerous it is. And someone who was safe last week but without a win, they might end up out getting bumped out this week just because of how difficult this track is. This track is very unforgiving. There's a reason that Miles the Monster stands outside collecting cars.
Yeah, and to bring James in on this one here, one of the big things that we're looking at here is that you have to be either have a win or be in the top 17 in points to qualify for the playoffs. Even with the win, you have to have a minimum of 7 starts or be in the top 17 in points. So for Jason Miz, who may not make the race tonight, he was actually attending the Cup Series race at Pocono today. Jason Miz is very, very close to being on the outside looking in.
Yeah, it's going to be a shame if he can't get in because that was an epic drive he had storming from mid-pack with that overcut strategy. It'd be a shame if he won't be able to use that to try to make a run at the chip, but that's the one bad thing about attending races is the traffic jam afterwards, and fortunately we just haven't figured out a way to put our sim rig in our cars.
Oh, that would be absolutely spectacular. Sorry, guys, we can't leave for 3 or 4 hours because I've got a race to run here. But let's look at the pit strategy here for this evening, guys. And 50 to 55 laps is what we're hearing is going to be the fuel window. Teams will have 5 sets of tires available to them. Moderate to extreme tire wear is what we're hearing. But, Patrick, here's the biggest thing that the High Slide Cup Series has done since last week's race at Kansas. No backup cars tonight. If you junk your stuff, you're done early.
Yeah, I have a feeling towards the end, if we get a bunch of junked race cars, you're going to have 1 or 2 guys going out there, just like last week, having a little bit of a tour-modified race, just trying to pass those cars that are stuck off the track, try and get a few extra points.
I'll tell you what here, James, this is really the kind of racetrack that there is no margin for error. And if somebody does make a mistake in front of you, there's almost nowhere to go.
Nope. That's the great thing about Dover is its self-clearing banking, where, if you don't time your avoidance right, no matter where you go, you're gonna get completely caught up in the middle. And the way the walls are with this car is really strange. It straight up feels like the walls come out and grab you. Like Miles himself is reaching up to grab the rear of your car and throw it into the wall. Because I was in a race here about a couple weeks ago, and I just kept hitting the wall middle of the straightaway. Like not even on corner entry or corner exit, just hitting it in the middle of the track, just from close proximity. So you're going to see potentially some random issues just because Dover is an evil place. We're going to see Miles rear its ugly head at some point.
Before we get qualifications underway here, I want to say the big thank yous to all the people that help make these High Slide Cup Series broadcasts possible here on the National Racing Network, including Hot Shoe Racewear. Whether it's workwear, streetwear, racewear, you name it, Hot Shoe Racewear is going to have you looking your absolute best. And it's not just apparel items either. Full flag sets for the favorite local track flagman in your life. Custom flags as well for the various theme nights. Pink and white checkered flags for Breast Cancer Awareness Month coming up in October. Even banners. Just picked up some fantastic high-side hustle banners from Alan Grace and the team over at Hot Shoe Racewear. Check them out online at hotshoeracewear.com for more information. Ray's Import is a family-owned and operated shop where you choose Ray's Import Auto Repair. You're choosing trained ASC-certified technicians, the highest quality parts, the latest equipment, and the newest technology to diagnose and repair your vehicle. Conveniently schedule online at raysimportautorepair.net. Lockard IT provides offensive and defensive cybersecurity solutions for companies of all sizes. For more information, visit lockard.it or call 855-999-6425 to get started. Aquatic Express Pool Service. They clean and maintain pools. They also specialize in pool equipment repair. You can reach them online at aquaticexpress.com. Also have to say a huge thank you to the fine folks at Alarm Technology Security Systems. Thank you very much for your support of the High Slide Cup Series. Finally, Zone Garage of Eastern Pennsylvania and New Jersey is your one-stop shop for the best in floor coatings and treatments. Everything from epoxy floor coatings to custom designs and your own artwork in the finished product. Zone Garage of Eastern PA and New Jersey has you covered. Find them on Facebook at Zone Garage of Eastern Pennsylvania and New Jersey. The guys' practice just getting ready to wrap up here in the next minute or so. We'll show everybody the best lap times up on the screen here. And no surprise here, James, Greg Holt to the top of the speed charts, and he's doing it in not a ton of laps turned either.
No, that's the ultimate flex when you can just hop in, slap a couple laps down, and completely slap every one of your competition face. And it's really not that much of a surprise that we're seeing Greg up at the top of the charts. The real surprise is the fact that we haven't really seen him a whole lot.
Yeah, he's sort of been on and off in terms of what races he's been able to make, and looks like Greg is going to be locked in through the playoffs here. This will be start number 7, and he does have a win, so Greg Holt will be locked in. The other car we'll take a look at here, right as he bins it, we'll pick up the 4 of Wendell Elliott. Wendell, one of the series rookies, currently the overall points leader, sitting on 406 points. That number 4 machine, Patrick, has been everything including consistent this season.
Yeah, he's one, if you were to bet on this race, he's one I would always have in my my draft, just because he's always there towards the front. He's like the Kevin Harvick of this series. He'll just sneak up there. His name won't be in your head, and all of a sudden you get to the end results, and he's in the top 5 in, week out. He is extremely talented in these cars.
Another name that really
ironic
kind of
with
pops
the fact
out.
that he's running 4.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, another name here, James, that I wanted to bring up here is Nicholas Lockard. He's actually, when you look at the playoff grid standings, Nicholas Lockard is sitting on top of the charts here. 9 starts so far this season, 2 top 5s, 1 pole, 1 win, 6 starts inside the top 10, but Nicholas Lockard has really done everything you need to do, including piling up the stage points in a big way.
Yeah, he's kind of Martin Truex 2017, really, with how he's been able to just steal stage point after stage point without necessarily having that consistent race win pace. He's been up there, but he hasn't really been a huge contender. But oh my goodness, has he been consistent? And that consistent is going to be able to pay off, and I think he's definitely one of the ones to watch for the championship.
Last guy we'll talk about here in advance of qualifications, the 710 of Cody Henderson. If some of the drivers have been consistent, Cody Henderson has been exciting. This guy can do some absolutely incredible things with an iRacing NASCAR Cup Series car, Patrick, but sometimes you sort of have to tone that exuberance down just a little bit if you really want to make a deep run in the playoffs.
Yeah, you just got to settle in. It's very difficult to be completely 100% on the gun every single lap of every race in these cars, just because they're very easy to just come at you and bite you, and they'll start to spin on you out of nowhere. So you just want to sometimes relax and be content with top 10 finish.
I want to thank everybody who's tuning in here this evening for the High Slide Cup Series from Dover International Speedway. Let us know in the comments here, who's your pick to win tonight? We love seeing the comments light up, trying to make these broadcasts as interactive as possible. So let us know in the comments who you are, where you're watching from, and who you think your pick to win is here this evening. One of the big stories, and we sort of touched on it a little bit here, is the fact that Jason Miz may be on the outside looking in by the time this race is over tonight in terms of the point standings as qualifications are going to wrap up. Miz is currently sitting 16th in points. He has a win. However, he does not have enough starts to utilize that top 17 position. So, he doesn't have enough starts, I should say, to use the win to lock himself in. So he has to stay inside the top 17 in points. We'll keep you abreast of that throughout the evening here, but this is going to be a very big storyline to watch this evening, is what happens to Jason Miz over the course of the evening. Qualifications just getting ready to roll out on to the racetrack. Take a look here. We'll get qualifying mode fired up for you here. And kind of interesting here, guys. Nobody is on the racetrack yet. At least not that we're seeing anyway.
Yeah, there must something not quite right, because I'm watching Wendell Elliott run his qualifications right now. Same with the 22 Andrew Chapman.
Okay, then let's do this here. Let's put up the "we'll be right back" here card. We'll get iRacing fired back up the right way here for everybody, and we'll get you squared away here. But we'll be right back. You're watching the High Slide Cup Series here on the National Racing Network.
I'm heading out, man. You want to ride?
No, I got my car, but I actually really need to go to the bathroom.
Dude, are you okay?
I am definitely buzzed.
Yeah.
I think I will take this, and I will take that ride home.
This Independence Day weekend, kick your party off with a bang. DeWeather Center presents the first annual DeWeather Cares Charity Softball Classic, presented by the National Racing Network. the Palmerton Boobies, DeWeather Center Bluecocks, Blue Mountain I-90 Fibers, Pocono Front Platers, Schuylkill County Crackers, Reading Nurses, Catasauqua Blue Tits, and Beltsville Lake Monsters will take the field in Emerald. Find out more on Facebook at DeWeather Center. DeWeather Center, offensively accurate.
All right, everybody, welcome back here to Dover International Speedway. Qualifications underway here. Not sure what happened to the iRacing server there, but seeing Evan Kelsey out on the racetrack. Greg Holt is your quick timer. Kelsey bangs it up off the outside retaining wall in turn 2. May not see that lap count. Here are your qualification results. Greg Holt going to be quickest, 21.692 seconds. Wendell Elliott, 21.8. Anthony Probst, Andrew Chapman, Evan Kelsey, your top 5 so far. Here is Joseph Causey out on the racetrack now. And I tell you what here, James, as we bring James Watson and Patrick Byrne back in alongside us here, track position is just going to be absolutely critical in this race. Whether it's trying to fight off an ill-handling race car or not having to deal with other, well, not good cars in front of you, you really need to be at the front here at Dover.
Yeah, this place is absolutely terrifying to go side by side with someone because how the car lands in the corner here, it's so unpredictable. You never really know what the car is going to do. You could either have it hit too hard and it slide up, or you get the rear to kick out, and you kind of really have to be brave in order to try to go side by side and hope that the other person is also paying attention, because yeah, bad things can happen really easily and really quick.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is the track that the term shired was coined at, because if you're side-by-side coming out of here, especially coming out of 2 or coming out of 4, that bottom car just wants to move up to the high side, and you'll just throw that car on the high side right into the wall. So it's very, very tough to hold side-by-side around here. You got to hope that someone backs out of it exiting these turns.
And one of
and
the
I
other
was lucky
big
enough
things,
to be behind the tire.
the other big thing here, guys, is this pit road is not easy to get on and off of. You almost have to commit to pitting halfway down the backstretch.
This has to be the most evil pit entry in all of motorsports. The sharp incline you have to deal with, it's so easy to upset the car. The last time when I had that cup race here a couple weeks ago, I got onto pit road for my green flag stop by losing the rear, bouncing off the attenuator, and doing a nice little 360 back to where I needed it to be. Somehow without getting a speeding penalty. Obviously my car didn't handle the same after that, but I got down pit road and with no penalty, so I didn't care. But yeah, we're probably going to see a whole lot of that. You're kind of hoping for a lot of caution, because if you try to make a green flag pit stop, there will be a caution.
Brian Grubbs went from a 12th quick lap time to a second quick lap time, 21.75 seconds, 21.75 on the speed clock for Brian Grubbs. Will pick up the number 65 Locker.IT entry of Brian Rumpf. Now 3 straight Lockered cars we've seen out on the racetrack. Guy Snyder finishing up his qualification run, 22.36 seconds, the lap time for Snyder. A lot of off-throttle time. You could really hear Brian Rumpf fighting that race car. He's up to 8th quick at the end of lap number 1. We'll see what he's going to have here for lap 2. Not much. In fact, he's going to back out of it off of turn number 2, and he'll head down into the pit lane. Should be seeing, I think, the number 23 of Mark McCurdy making his way out onto the racetrack here momentarily as well. Several cars, at least from what I'm seeing here, still have not taken time. Mark McCurdy sitting right at the end of pit road. I don't think he's going to have enough time to go here. At least he's going to have to get out of pit lane pretty darn quickly here. If McCurdy is going to have a shot at setting a time with that machine. Because we're down now inside of 20 seconds remaining in the qualification session. Kind of an interesting look here. Cars including Cody Henderson not taking time yet in this session here. Wonder if there are
it's
some. Wonder if we don't
strategy. See how it works out for them.
Well, yeah, I wonder if some of these cars didn't have the same issue that we had on the production side here of kind of getting booted out of the iRacing service. There is the 23 on pit road. Let's get you a look here at the starting lineup for tonight's race. Greg Holt, no surprise, he will start on the pole. Brian Grubbs going to line up to his outside. 61 thousandths of a second separating your top two. Wendell Elliott and Joseph Causey will occupy row number 2 for the start of this race here this evening. Row number 3 will have Jordan Probst and Andrew Chapman. Evan Kelsey, Brian Rumpf on row number 4. Row 5 is going to see Nicholas Lockard and Donnell Williams. Gary Grigsby and Joseph Fogg on row number 6. Row 7, Pennsylvania's Guy Snyder, and the Carolinas' Joshua Gathright. Cody Henderson and Mark McCurdy on row number 8. Row 9, Cody Henderson and Mark McCurdy. Excuse me, that's row 8. Row 9, Michael Pittman Jr. and Andrew Schroeder. All alone in row number 10 will be the number 36 of New York's Robert Thorens. 19 cars on the grid this evening, 250 laps the distance. This one's going to be pretty exciting here, guys, because we're looking at pit stops anywhere from 50 to 55 laps in. It really doesn't give you a lot of wiggle room here in terms of strategy.
Yeah, the only thing I could see is if we have a bunch of cautions in this race, and it ends up being a time-limited race instead of a laps race, some people might be playing that, trying to just set the fuel up so you can go to that time limit instead of the full race distance, which you might see some interesting strategy go on if that's what ends up happening.
Yeah, James, I mean, this is a race that is 2 hours and 40 minutes time limited. 250 laps, you're less than 60 seconds per lap is what you have available. It may not sound like much when you're turning laps at 20 seconds. However, start putting the caution flags in here, and all of a sudden, we could be time limited here pretty quickly.
Vietnam flashbacks to last Sunday night.
Yeah, let's hope we don't have a repeat of that one, but iRacing safety car is going to make the hard left-hand turn here onto the pit road. Greg Holt and Brian Grubbs will lead the field to green. And as always, race fans, the start of the High Slide Cup Series is all yours. Greg Holt's going to lead lap number 1. Wendell Elliott falling in right behind the pole. Just a little bit up a lane off or so off the bottom of the racetrack. Elliott going to think about peeking inside. Everybody has settled in here, and I'll tell you what, guys, a little bit of a change in structure here. Garrett Velzy, who runs the High Slide Cup Series, had been driving in these races throughout the season. After last week, he elected to remove himself from competition for the duration of this season, and the boss man is controlling things in race control now.
And if I remember correctly, he was in the he was locked into the playoffs. So it's going to move some people into it that a week ago didn't even have a thought of getting into the playoffs. So a little bit of shake-up going on right now.
It definitely changes the calculus a little bit here because Velzy was inside the top 12 in points. What it did is it promoted Nathan Aldrich into the points, and it gave Jason Miz that one extra spot. That may be what it boils down to. Greg Holt not getting away from Wendell Elliott, Joseph Causey, and Andrew Chapman here at the front. Just back behind him, the 21 of Brian Grubbs down to the inside. He's going to have Jordan Probst on his back bumper off the 2. Pick up this battle here for the 4th position between Andrew Chapman and Joseph Causey. Chapman working the outside here in 1 and 2. And James, is that potentially a tire conservation strategy this early in the race?
Yeah, this track is not nice tires, so the sooner you take care of them, the better. Because even if you think you're doing a good job on saving tires, you'll get into pit road and see, oh, okay, I'm still down to 36% on the right front. That's real nice. So the ones who bite the bullet and make that concerted effort save tires are going to be the ones who won.
I'll tell you what, if he's saving
Andrew
tires...
Chapman's taking...
Yeah, go ahead, Patrick.
I would say he's running a really, really weird line. I wouldn't say he's trying to save tires. He's kind of diamonding the corner, almost like you'd see at Bristol or Martinsville. I've never seen that line run real well here, but obviously he's doing something right with it because he's worked his way up all the way up to 2nd, and he's not letting Greg Holt build up a gap.
Yeah, he's found a ton of speed running that line. And for the fans who may not have a lot of experience with that, diamonding the corner is where you're going to enter the corner low, slide up the racetrack high, and then cut it back low again on corner exit, basically making it kind of a pointed, the shape of a diamond. But Chapman's found something that's working. This time, though, he's going to have a look to the inside of Greg Holt for the race lead off at 2.
Not going to have it for him this lap. But yeah, the advantage of diamonding the corner is you can build up your entry speed and try to make a move on entry, and then you still have that exit speed coming out of the corner. Where you end up losing time, it's all trade-off. Is you end up losing time in the middle of the corner and you're trying to set it back down to the low side, and you're exposing that bottom side up. But if you're by yourself, you can make that line work and build up a ton of speed, and you're effectively blocking both lines behind you, so it's very, very difficult to make a move on you when you're doing that.
Trouble on the racetrack for Joseph Fogg. We do not go under caution here. If you'll recall here, we do have live admins. That means if you have an incident by yourself, unfortunately, you're going to be kind of out of luck here. Get you the Hot Shoe Racewear instant replay. See what happened to the 056 of Joseph Fogg. Bounces it off the outside retaining wall. Pounds the inside wall. Comes to a stop. He takes the toe back. We stay under the green flag.
Yeah, that looked like another instance of Miles reaching those big mitts out there and grabbing another poor innocent race.
And also seeing some trouble here potentially for Andrew Schroeder. That car on the pit lane as well. Run through some of the hard chargers of the race early in this one. Pick up the 710 of Cody Henderson. He's up 4 spots from the drop of the green flag, as is the number 42 with Derek Grigsby. Andrew Chapman also up 4 spaces as well. A little bit surprising here that we've seen very little in the way of hyper-aggressive driving here at Dover, knowing how important this track position is.
Yeah, but just go on, Patrick.
I was gonna say, I think it's got a lot to do with the fact that there's no backup car today, so none of these guys want to make a wrong move, step the rear end out too much, end up damaging this race car since they only have one for tonight. It's not like you can smack the wall off to run the car another stint and then get you a brand new car out of the garage and go race real fast laps again. So these guys might be taking it easy this time around.
I say that, and they're going to start fighting big time here up towards the front of the field. Aggressive move by Andrew Chapman to cut off the 88 of Joseph Causey on corner exit after Wendell Elliott comes past. So now Wendell Elliott in the 4s.
Yeah. Yeah, knowing how hard Andrew was going the first few laps of this race, it would not surprise me already starting to feel the effects of destroying those tires, because yeah, it looks like he's starting to struggle more and losing that speed where he needed it.
He had gained 4 positions. He's now gained only 3, and Joseph Causey is right there as well. So this may turn into a little bit almost of an experiment in how hard can I push this thing early on. The first handful of laps probably is the worst time to try that.
Yeah, if you end up using your stuff up this first stint or first 2 stints, as long as you don't go a lap down, you're still very much in the fight for the win. So your biggest goal is just stay in the lead lap right now, try new things, see what the weather is doing, how the car is handling right now at this very moment. This way, when we get to the end of the race, you know what it takes to go and make that faster lead and end up winning the race.
No real battles on the racetrack other than these 4 cars that are all sort of bumper to bumper. We'll say Chapman Causey and Jordan Propstar. Now we're about halfway through the fuel run here, guys. And unlike some of the other cars that we see here on the National Racing League, there's no in-car adjustments here. There's no way to make this thing feel any better than it does in the moment.
Yeah, pretty much all you have is your brake bias in these cars, and at a track like this, you're not really using a ton of brake, you're more just rolling off the throttle, so brake bias isn't really going to help you unless the car really is handling terribly, which is just going to drag the brake a little bit to get the car to turn in.
And James, one of the big challenges here at a place like Dover where you're not using a ton of brake is the throttle is not an on-off switch. It really takes a delicate right foot to control what this race car is doing in the corners.
Because if you're not, if you try to get too greedy on that lap pedal, you are going to destroy the right rear, and the right front is already taking an unbelievable beating as it is. So you got to be as consistent on your throttle application as you can to at least keep one of the tires from not falling apart before the end of the run.
I was gonna say, one thing I find myself doing in these Cup cars a lot with that tire wear, it's either wearing one tire more than the other, is if I notice the car is starting to get really, really loose, I start cranking on the steering wheel way more than I have to, trying to wear that front tire to kind of set the balance back in. On the other end of the spectrum, if your front is getting worn out, the car is not really turning very much, you could get on the gas a lot earlier on purpose, try and spin that tire just to set the balance of the car better so it actually tries to turn on you instead of trying to plow straight into the wall. So we have an awesome battle forming on this racetrack right now.
Seeing Jordan Props losing his spot to Joseph Causey. He's going to lose another one potentially here to Brian Grubbs on the exit of turn 2. This late in the run, I would imagine the push is really going to start to come into play here. I would imagine you're at a point in the run where you don't want to be that car on the outside lane.
No, especially if you're side by side, you don't want to be stuck on the outside. You don't know how talented the car below you is. If they're going to push up into you, exiting the corner, send you flying into the wall. So you get to the point where it's kind of a game of chicken. Do I back out and lose the position, or do I stay in it and possibly get wrecked? So, like Evan Kelser right now, I would not want to be in his shoes.
Yeah, this battle forming up very nicely here. Cody Henderson, Guy Snyder, Joshua Gathright, all up 3 or more positions since the drop of the green flag. Gathright looking to the inside of Henderson off at turn number 4. Henderson going to fight right back, and that's almost, you started to see that push, and the really difficult thing here, I would imagine, James, is you start to feel the push, you back out of the throttle, then the trailing throttle oversteer kicks in, and the car wants to snap around on you.
Yeah, we've always heard the term push loose, and it's never more prevalent than it is here. That's what's always made Dover such a fun track, is you deal with all kinds of different things you would never have happened at a different track.
Oh, trouble down the back straightaway. The 21 of Brian Grubb's going to bounce it off the inside safer barrier. Caution flag number 1 is out here at lap number 33. Trouble for Brian Grubbs. Let's take a look here and get you a look at this fight. Grubbs just caught the apron just a little bit. Oh, and then he may have gotten him.
Looks like he had a little bit of help.
He got some help from Jordan Props going around there as well. Get you another look at the replay here. There it is, a little bit of a shot there, and
I'm really questioning the thought process the 98 was dealing with there. Like, why did he think that was a good idea? He had to have known that the 21 was gonna go back up at some point. He dove right at the absolute last possible moment, and it ended up causing both of them damage. That I don't get that. Also, can we just point out how it doesn't seem to be an NRN broadcast about someone dying while I'm talking about something?
Yes, that sounds about accurate there, Mr. Watson. And take a look here. Working under the first caution flag of the race, occurring at lap number 33. It looks like we'll be seeing the lights go out here on the iRacing safety car. There is the message from Race Control. Car 91 and car 98 to the end of the line for their role in that incident. Anthony Props and Brian Grubbs. Grubbs was already going to be there anyway because of the extended duration he spent on pit road. 1 minute 23 seconds, in fact, was the time on pit road. Greg Holt on pit road first, off pit road first. He'll be the race leader, lining up on the outside of Wendell Elliott. Andrew Chapman and Derek Grigsby going to make up row number 2. Cody Henderson, Brian Rumpf in row 3. Hearing a little bit of contact here as we get ready to come to green. Green flag back in the air. We are underway once again.
Huge start for Greg Holt. He is just going to run away.
Not much of a fight there for second either. Wendell Elliott able to grab that position fairly easily. Looking back in the field here, pick up the 27 of Guy Snyder and the 89 of Joshua Gathright. Snyder able to complete that pass with ease. Interesting move here by Joseph Causey, electing to stay out and lead a lap. Is important for the point standings, I should say, at the conclusion of this race.
I was going to say, but give me 1 second. If you lead a lap under here, you get that bonus point. That does not transfer into the playoffs.
No, the bonus points. The bonus points don't transfer. However, basically, what the other part of it that Causey's done here is he's given himself an extra lap of fuel late in this run. Theoretical maximum now is lap 87 for Causey. It could be lap number 88 where he has to make
that race I was in recently, just taking tires in out on a caution that happened 5 laps into the race. It makes absolutely no sense to put yourself in this position. There's no real net gain. Yeah, you might save an extra set of tires, but you are really screwing yourself up right here and right now. I just don't think that was a smart move.
See, now I wonder if he's going to try the undercut, try and pit before everyone else, because there's a pretty big window where everyone can pit here now, where you could pit as early as, I'd say, lap 60 and make it to that lap 100 stop, or you could pit as late as lap 80 and make it to that lap 100 stop. Knowing there's a pit stop there, I don't know what I would choose, just because there are 2 very, very big avenues you can go down. And it gets especially confusing if there's a caution in between those two numbers as well.
Pretty big advancement here for Cody Henderson through that cycle of pit stops. He was not the fastest car on pit road. He was not the fastest car off pit road. But he's currently running in the 4th position, almost making contact there with Wendell Elliott off of turn number 4. Fantastic run so far for the 710.
Is it me, or did he have a manufacturer change in between races?
He may have, actually. We keep a lot of numbers, but that's not one of them.
Yeah, because I remember him always having the black 710 Nebraska paint scheme on the Mustang, and now he's running completely different. That's kind of disappointing on a personal level.
Did like the big red Cornhusker there, but he is showing a lot of speed here. Nobody's been able to really fight with Greg Holt outside of Andrew Chapman for a couple of laps. You wonder if this might not be a similar situation here with Cody Henderson. Nobody has tried to push that hard.
He's really fighting. He's going to put the pressure on Greg Holt to try and get Greg Holt to burn his stuff up. I just wonder if it's worth it to burn your stuff up trying to get someone else to do that, but maybe you're trying to get him to maybe burn his stuff up to the point where he's wrecking loose or wrecking tight, hitting these walls and damaging his race car towards the end of the race.
So the top 5 have sort of settled down a little bit here. Another name towards the front of this race that we haven't talked a lot about yet is the 42 with Derek Grigsby. He's up 6 spots from the start of the race this evening. 15.02 seconds. Everybody taking tires and fuel. Now we're starting to see something similar to what happened to Andrew Chapman in the first part of this stage. Cody Henderson being very aggressive early, now starting to fall backwards just a little bit. Seeing Joshua Gathright has entered the pit lane. Nicholas Lockard running 1 lap down. Running multiple laps down at this point. Yeah, Nicholas Lockard may be out of the race here because I don't see where he entered pit road. Let's take a look and see. May have a Hot Shoe Racewear instant replay here to take a look at. Causey and Lockard battling down the back straightaway. Don't really see anything there. Wonder if it's almost a connection issue or something for Nicholas Lockard, because that looks to be up.
I was gonna say, looking at it, it was a connection issue for him.
Tough break for Nicholas Lockard. Not the way you want your regular season to end, that's for sure. No doubt about it, he will be one of the cars in the High Slide Cup playoffs.
Gonna say, coming into this race, he was your points leader and he has a win on the board, so he didn't even have to run today if he didn't feel like it. He could still be locked in.
So now down to 14 cars remaining on the racetrack. Joshua Gathright going to be the first car 1 lap down. He's actually going to be 3 laps down the race leaders for just a moment here. Here's the battle for second between Wendell Elliott and Andrew Chapman. Start to wonder if we have to maybe work some math backwards here a little bit based on where those pit stops came. How's this one for intrigue and whatever else you want to call it here? This is ignoring that there will be a caution at lap 100. However, you can make it to lap 87 on the current tank of fuel that these cars are running on. After a stop at lap number 87, you would have to stop at lap 141, then lap 195. That gets you to lap 249. You can probably save that 1 lap of fuel under caution, but you could commit yourself to a 4-stop strategy right now. You just have to not stop under that stage break.
Not stopping on that stage break could work out well too, just because of the track position game. Now you're in front of everyone else. Everyone else has to work to fight to get around you. you know you're on old tires. You don't have to push yourself to stay in the lead. You just got to push yourself to make those guys work to get around you, burn their stuff up. As soon as you take your pit stop, you'll have a faster car than them, and they're all going to have junk cars by the end of it.
Yeah, and if the pit stops are coming under the green, which it may look like that's something that could happen, potentially not the worst strategy play we've ever seen to have someone go after that strategy of saying, I'm going to spend less time on pit road than everybody else.
See, these things, though, unless you're saving 10, 15 laps of fuel, the time on pit road isn't that much different just because of how long it takes to put tires on this car. And unless you're trying to avoid taking tires on a stop, or you're only going to take 2, there's not a whole lot of time to be gained.
Yeah, no, my point was more to the effect of, instead of making 5 stops, make 4. And by saving the green flag pit stop, you're still turning laps at speed while everybody else is having to come down the pit road. Seeing trouble on the racetrack for Mark McCurdy. Let's get you a Hot Shoe Racewear instant replay of this one. There's the push. Oh, man, Joshua Gathright got away with one there. Oh, my goodness. Get you another look at this one here from the in-car camera on Joshua Gathright.
He didn't even know what was happening. He just walked on by like oblivious to the world around him.
Oh, that is absolutely spectacular.
That's when you look up in your rearview mirror and go, oh, glad I'm not that guy.
Let's give you a rundown through the field here as we work lap number 66. Greg Holt is your race leader by about a half a second over Wendell Elliott. Started on the pole, and he's led every lap but 1, thanks to Joseph Causey electing to stay out on pit road. Stay on the racetrack while everybody else came down pit road under our first caution flag. The first of the Performance Sim Sport entries belongs to Wendell Elliott. This guy has been absolutely spectacular this season, and he's continuing that trend here tonight at Dover. Up 1 spot from where he started this evening. The guy running right behind him, Andrew Chapman, is up 3 spots from the drop of the green flag. At number 22, Pepsi Chevrolet. Ryan Rumpf coming around, Derek Grigsby for the 4th position. That Locker.IT, number 65. The old little blue pill colors made famous by Mark Martin a decade and a half or so ago. Love the Locker.IT throwbacks that these cars run. They're a fun group of cars to look at. Just back behind him is the 42 of Derek Grigsby. He's up 6 spots from the drop of the green flag, and we've got several hard chargers here as we roll through the top 10. Next up on the list, up 7 positions, is the 27 pro grade entry of Guy Snyder. Just back behind Snyder, the guy who up until this week we saw running the Nebraska Big Red colors on the 710 machine. Cody Henderson breaking out the white shoes to run here at the Dover International Speedway. He's your hard charger of the race, up 8 spots. Joseph Causey down 4 from where he started this race. Does have a lap led here this evening. That's coming under the first caution flag at lap number 33, while everybody else was on pit road. Causey stopping 1 lap later at lap 34. Jordan Props running in the 9th position. He was your race winner the last time the High Slide Cup Series was here at the Dover International Speedway. Rounding out your top 10, just behind Jordan Probst, is the 02 of Evan Kelsey. Had a fantastic shot to win his first High Slide Cup Series race at the Daytona International Speedway just a few weeks ago. Saw that go up in smoke, literally and figuratively, with a little bit of an errant strategy call, looking to make amends for that one here this evening. Manel Williams, Michael Pittman Jr. rounding out the cars on the lead lap. Joshua Gathright, currently running in the 13th position, is the last car left on the racetrack. Gathright going to be 2 laps down. He's in position to get one of those back as the lucky dog. And something to think about here, Patrick. If you're Evan Kelsey, we'll swing back around here and pick him up. Do you potentially try to play a little bit of a game here in terms of how you execute your pit strategy to try to get yourself back 1 lap down, then the lucky dog puts you back on the lead lap?
I never want to go a lap down if I don't have to. So if I were him, I would stay out for just a little bit, see what everyone else can do, see if caution is going to come out now. If not, I would absolutely dive down to the pit lane, try and undercut everyone, hopefully come out in front and get that lap back. And hopefully the undercut works to the point where I have the lead come that lap 100 caution.
Check in the comments here. This one came in a little while ago. Daryl Rector checking in saying, wish I could run. I'm set out tonight. Rector earning enough incident points 1 week ago at Kansas to incur a 1-week suspension here from the High Slide Cup Series. Andrew Chapman saying, save tires, lesson learned. So he's driving and commenting here under the yellow flag. J.C. Henderson checking in, saying it's still Nebraska pride, even without the black shirt N. So, yes, it is a car change here for Cody Henderson.
Now, can she act as our kind of in-race reporter and tell us why he decided to change to a Chevy to begin with? That's inquiring minds would like to know.
Yeah, it's theoretically on the iRacing platform, the Chevys, the Fords, and the Toyotas are all balanced equally. There should not be any advantage to be had one over the other.
Well, that was essentially the case here like a month ago for the Chevy Brigade.
I mean, even to the point of we see the performance sim sport cars, they all run the manufacturer of their choice. So with how much time, that was tight off the turn too. For how much effort that team puts into getting the setups nailed down here, that's definitely something to keep an eye on here. But that 22 machine of Andrew Chapman making his way down pit road a little bit early here. We expected them to be able to go to 82 or 83. Big lockup on his way in. You wonder if the 22 did not just get himself a pit road speeding penalty.
We'll find out here.
I say we're going to find out here in just a moment. Kind of interesting here, not seeing.
Nope, no penalty, no tires changed either.
I say no penalty, but no tires. That's the surprise for me. Chapman making the stop, 8.23 seconds. Now, he's gone a lap down in the process here, but everybody else is going to have to make the same move. That could be a pretty smart strategy call here by Chapman. He knows he's going to get the caution flag in just a handful of laps.
Yeah, with the limited tire sets, there's no need to waste another set of tires for 15 laps of racing. So he wants to just get himself up front, sit himself on top of the pole, and come that lap 100 caution, he's going to pull himself back into the pit lane, hopefully come out of it first again.
He's also basically here, James, running an equivalent set of tires to what everybody else has on the racetrack. His tires are as beat up as everyone else's is, so it's not like he's going to be deficient in speed either.
It's still an interesting strategy. Yeah, you're not dealing with as much time on pit road, but it's interesting. I really want to see how this plays out. I'm really trying to figure out that end game. I think there's not enough reward in this.
Jordan Prop's going to be battling here with.
Normally,
Go ahead.
I was going to say, normally for the undercut to work, you have to take tires, because the way it works is you're now running fewer laps with junk old tires at the slower pace. But with as few laps we have, 2 lap 100, I could see it kind of working out neutrally. I don't know if it's going to really help him, but I don't think it's going to hurt him as much as it may have if we had another full fuel run to do.
Wendell Elliott and Evan Kelsey making their way down the pit road. Number 4 machine hits his box. Again, car not going up in the air, so it's going to be a no tire stop. He's down and away 6.57 seconds, and here's really now where this strategy play gets very, very interesting, guys. The stop for Chapman was 8.2 seconds. Elliott's gained 2 seconds on Chapman just by having to take less fuel to make it to lap 100.
Yeah. I was gonna say, and it's not even like Chapman's gaining those 2 seconds back by running on fresher tires for longer, because neither of them took tires. So I think Wendell Elliott's going to come out on top for this one of not taking any tires on these stops.
The other big question that kind of needs to be answered here is, when does Greg Holt come in? When does Brian Rumpf come in? Has anybody been fuel saving enough to make it to lap 100? That would be a huge fuel save there.
Saying you're going to lock these other cars a lap down and more. However, I think as Greg Holt's now coming down into the pits, I was going to say, I wonder if these guys are waiting for a caution to come out, maybe a lap or 2 earlier, because then they'll just end up under caution for that lap 100 break.
Yeah, this is sort of what we talked about, where there's a very narrow window where if the caution flag comes out, a couple of cars stand to be very big beneficiaries. In this case, it's going to be Guy Snyder, Joseph Causey, Anthony Probst, and that's it. And Probst is now on his way down pit road. If the caution flag were to fly, you would have Guy Snyder, Joseph Causey, and Jordan Probst being the only 3 cars on the lead lap.
Could it be we're in a famous danger zone?
Key up the Kenny Loggins. You may have to do that. If it wouldn't get us demonetized, I would say let's play some Kenny Loggins every time we're in the danger zone.
I was going to say, if I start singing that, will I get sued by either the company who owns the rights to it or by all the people I've caused irreparable hearing damage to with my terrible singing?
Yeah, you're gonna
I believe if you sing it, that's a Creative Commons. It's just a parody, so I think we're safe there.
Yes, you are.
Lord knows
if there was ever a
singing
guy that I would say it's a parody, it would be James Wattsman. Wendell Elliott going to be your race leader here as Guy Snyder is on the pit, or Guy Snyder is on pit road. Wendell Elliott going to be coming around here, and Snyder is playing the strategy game here, guys, because he took the full stop, 15.27 seconds. I don't think he's going to go a lap down. You take a look here, we'll actually show you the entire pit lane time for these cars on the lead lap, looking at about 42 seconds or so is about what you're going to see for time lost here as we work lap number 96.
Say, Guy Snyder, I think he's set. I don't think he's going to go a lap down here. He's on fresh tires. Come this lap 100 pit stop, I don't see any reason for these guys who pitted earlier who didn't take tires. There's no reason for them to come down to the pits now, and if they do, that just puts Guy Snyder at the front of the field. So I think he's locked himself into at least a podium coming off of this first stage.
Going to be coming around to 3 laps to go here in stage number 1, and it's Wendell Elliott by 1.4 seconds over Greg Holt. And I'll tell you what here, guys, that was entirely done on the in lap and the out lap. Greg Holt was 5.85 seconds for his pit stop time, 6.57 for Wendell Elliott. And Holt had upwards of a 1 second lead over Elliott when the cycle of pit stop started. So pretty spectacular in laps and out laps there for Wendell Elliott.
Now, one thing I wonder, they were talking about this in the pre-race, is you have to enter on the backstretch. I wonder if Wendell Elliott gained that time by not entering on the backstretch, entering off turn 3, and I wonder if that'll be penalized post-race.
That's a pretty big question to get resolved there. We'll see if we get any word from race control here, but final lap in stage number 1, and Wendell Elliott is absolutely in control here. In fact, Brian Rumpf coming around Greg Holt. Green and white checkered in the air. Wendell Elliott's going to claim stage number 1, and that will bring out the caution flag. Gives us a moment here to kind of collectively catch our breath. This race has been pretty exciting so far, and one of the cleanest races I have ever seen at the Dover International Speedway. Now, James, something that I'm kind of finding to be interesting here. Wendell Elliott kept the pace up to make that, to basically open the pits here, try to skunk everybody else that's on the lead lap here. Interesting strategy call, because it also kind of extends the caution by a lap here potentially as well.
Yeah, just one of the many little tricks you can do to kind of help yourself out and kind of mess up the competition.
So as expected, Guy Snyder going to stay out on the racetrack. His stop at lap number 94, 15.27 seconds. That was a full 4 tires service. Brian Rumpf down and away, 5.25 seconds. Looks like no tires taken there for Brian Rumpf. Wendell Elliott going to be the first car off of pit road. Among the cars that took tires anyway, 15.03 seconds. Good stop for Joseph Causey, 14.53 seconds. Greg Holt will roll off, restart in the 5th position after a 15.6 second stop. Joshua Gathright in the number 89 will restart 6th. Fantastic work by the crew with Derek Grigsby. Round of beers for the 42 crew, 14.48 seconds for Derek Grigsby.
Yeah, they definitely were not eating ice cream at that moment.
Starting on the
I'm
Days
seeing
of
a
Thunder
pit stop time
references
for
already.
Yeah, I was going to say, Jordan Prop's team definitely was eating ice cream cones. They were 36.93 seconds. Don't know if he had any damage to repair or if they just forgot the air gun and were tightening them by hand.
Yeah, I would tend to think there was some damage repair there on pit road. Evan Kelsey over 20 seconds. Andrew Chapman and Anthony Props both over 30 seconds. That's a pretty big surprise there for the 22 crew. Let's see if we can't sneak a quick word. Unfortunately, we don't have our stage winner here. See if we can't get a quick word in here with the 65 of Brian Rump. Brian, good run for you there in stage number 1. What are your thoughts as we get ready to head here into stage 2?
Well, I'm just going to try to conserve a little fuel and little tires here and see what we can do here.
I say kind of interesting, the 5 1/4 second stop, no tires on that pit stop, correct?
That is correct. I had just gotten tires a few laps back, probably about 9 laps ago, and I just went in and topped off fuel.
There you go. Interesting strategy call. Thank you very much, Brian, for joining us here. And what do we think of the strategy call there to get the tires a little bit early and then top off the fuel? So you're on almost the same rubber and you've got the same fuel as the leaders, and you just bought yourself a bunch of track position.
It's pretty much the same thing that Guy Snyder was trying to achieve, except Brian Rump, I think, has a slight advantage now because he's got a little bit more fuel in the tank. So if we end up with a long green flag run, he might be able to stay out just a lap or 2 extra, or pit at the same time as Guy Snyder and have to put less fuel in the car.
As we get ready to come back to green here, we'll ask the question of you, James. How much does that one heat cycle matter here, where you got the tires up to temperature, running a few laps on them, and now you're going to have them pull back off and now have to warm them back up again?
Yeah, as we see the green flag back in the air, it definitely means a lot, especially here with how much tires, even those few laps, you're going to be putting yourself kind of vulnerable. Just that little extra bit of fresh on everyone else's tires, it's gonna make life difficult trying to keep everyone behind you.
Yeah, and we're seeing that happen in a pretty big way here. Brian Rump started on the outside of the front row and already back in the 7th position, 1 lap into stage number 2. We're gonna have a battle for the lead here shaping up as well. Guy Snyder trying to hold off the 4 of Wendell Elliott. Doesn't look like that's going to happen here into turn number 1, but Snyder fighting the good fight. Gives up position to Wendell Elliott off of 2.
I think Snyder's just trying to preserve his stuff and just let Wendell Elliott run away with it for right now and let Wendell Elliott burn up his stuff.
Yeah, it's almost like with how few cars we have left in the race, and especially on the lead lap, the worst that happens is you're going to fall back to around 10th position. In a best case scenario, Guy Snyder is going to be able to hold on to the top 5 here until we get to the next pit window here, opening right around lap number 150.
Now, unfortunately for Guy Snyder, I don't see him being eligible for the playoffs, even if he gets a win tonight. He's only got 2 starts in the series this season, so unless something crazy big happens and everyone gets shaken up, I don't see him getting into the 17th points position if he ends up winning the race.
Yeah, Guy Snyder will not be playoff eligible here because you got to make the top 17 in points, and he's sitting on 94 points at the beginning of the night, and you're talking in the 250s with only 43 points on offer. To be well short of that line to gain, so to speak. As we see Joseph Causey making his way around the 27 machine, but I guess if you're in Guy Snyder's position here, James, you're not fighting for points. You're not fighting for a championship. Let's go pick up a trophy.
Heck yeah, man. Might as well throw the Hail Mary and see what happens. He's got nothing to lose and everything to gain. So far, he seemed to have gained a lot from this little unique strategy.
Greg Holt coming around the 27 machine now off of turn number 2. Joshua Gathright in the 89 taking advantage of his ability to get back on the lead lap, now running in the 4th position. So a good run up here towards the front for the 89. Everything has settled in here fairly quickly, so what do you think, boys? Let's give the race fans here at home a chance to crank it up. Working lap number 118. Guy Snyder just falling back behind Derek Grigsby. Strategy play maybe not working out as well as they might have hoped here, but Brian Rumpf holding on to the 7th position. You can see him just up at the top of your frame. At the front of the field, the race leader is Wendell Elliott. Joseph Causey about 5 car lengths back and shrinking that gap in a pretty big hurry here.
Yeah, you're going to see these guys starting to fight real hard for these next 30 laps. The second stage ends at lap 150, which is only 30 laps away. There won't be a caution at the end of that one, but still points do count, and they will be scored at lap 150. So these guys want to try and pass as many cars as they can before then.
That's a pretty big thing here as well in not having the caution flag coming out at the stage break for lap 150. Basically what you end up with then is you have the cars of Guy Snyder and Brian Rumpf who may not be able to make the end of this stage on fuel. Everybody else can make it to lap 156. It's just a matter of can you make the tires last that long. Seeing Daryl Rector checking into the comments. Been a good race so far. Sorry to see my teammates wrecked out so early. Yeah, some of these cars having some early issues. And Mark McCurdy checking in saying, I lost it off too. Good grief. That's probably the most frustrating part of this here, guys, is an early pit strategy call here for Wendell Elliott. He's going to dive onto pit road here at lap 124. Only about halfway through the run.
Just going to say, Wendell Elliott, though, is one of those guys that isn't locked in on a win, but is locked in on points. So he might just be sending a Hail Mary out there, trying to pit now, not really worrying about those playoff points, and just going to try and get himself a win here tonight.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what happens here with the number 4 car, because Cruz going around to the right-hand side, he cannot make it even on 2 more stops. He's only going to get to lap 232. and he only put about 20 laps on these tires. Wendell Elliott going to go at least one lap down here in the Performance Sid Sport number 4.
Yeah, it's an interesting call for sure, but I don't know if it's necessarily the worst one. Maybe he's just trying to undercut everyone. He's hoping that maybe there's going to be a caution here soon with everyone trying to fight to get as high as they can before lap 150. The possibility of a caution is very, very much there. To which he'll just leapfrog everyone when they go to pit, get himself back in the lead lap, and then try and go get himself to win that way.
He's used up his second set of Goodyear Racing Eagles, and he does it at the halfway point, lap 123 is the lap of the stop for Wendell Elliott. Time of the stop only 14.53 seconds, so no damage incurred to the number 4 either, but now he's really got to get ahead of Joseph Causey and then stay there. That's the important thing for Wendell Elliott at this point, because if the caution flies now, he gets a lucky dog, but he's still 2 laps down to the race leader.
Yeah, that is... the fun thing about this series, you see all kinds of whacked out strategies night in and night out. I have no idea what he's trying to do, and I can't begin to try to figure out the end game on this. This is weird.
Take a look back in the pack. Pick up Jordan Probst and Guy Snyder. Probst coming around Snyder for the 6th position. That number 27 machine continues a little bit of a fall on the alternate pit strategy. The biggest thing, though, guys, here is that he hasn't lost a lap in the process, and it doesn't look like he's going to. That really kind of changes things up in a pretty big way. Looking far down the road here in this race, he still could make it on that alternate strategy. Jordan Probst almost got it down onto the apron, trying to come around the 22 with Andrew Chapman. So to kind of recap the fans here, we actually now have 3 distinctly different strategies that are in play. One being run by Guy Snyder and a similar situation here, Brian Rumpf. Guy Snyder can make it to lap 148 or so before he has to come into the pits. The rest of your race leaders are now running out to about lap 156. Then we have the car of Wendell Elliott, who will have to make one more stop. Oh, man, what a save.
What a save.
For the 98 of Jordan Probst. My goodness. Take a look here at the front of the field. As we got a battle for the race lead shaping up as well. Joseph Causey, Greg Holt, Joshua Gathright, all within a half second of each other. Holt looking inside through turns 3 and 4. It'll be Causey at the line, but he may not have that position the next time around.
It looks like Causey is just so much better off the corner on that high line, but Greg Holtz didn't do it. seal the deal here and get in front of him.
Seeing Donnell Williams on the pit lane, he'll be making his 4th pit stop of the evening. We work lap number 138. The battle for the race lead's a good one, but Greg Holt claiming that spot on the entry to turn number 3. See what Joshua Gaffright's going to be able to do with that 88 machine now. Causey had a fairly substantial lead here. You wonder if there's not a little bit more fuel saving going on here for the 88. We're going to slide back in the pack here because this is an absolutely fantastic fight. We've got 6 cars fighting for positions 5 through 10. Cody Henderson coming around the outside of the 22 with Andrew Chapman on the entry to turn number 1. Made that pass look easy. Guy Snyder really putting up the big fight here as well. He's going to have to try to gain some positions before his next scheduled stop. Anywhere between now and lap 148 is when we expect to see that 27 machine back down pit road. Kelsey almost getting a piece of the outside safer barrier on the exit at turn number 4 as Brian Rump and Andrew Chapman now going to battle here. Chapman way up into the marbles on the outside of the racetrack in 1 and 2. Now, seeing kudos to Connor Baldwin, our assistant producer extraordinaire here tonight. Oh, this guy Snyder did a 61-lap stint on fuel the last time. He had some quality flag help in that, but that's a lot different than 50 to 55 laps.
Also, I'm seeing Nicholas Lockard back on the track, just trying to get some positions back on everyone else. That car actually does not look too bad after the damage repair done to it. Or no, he did not have any damage actually. He just got kicked out of the section.
Yeah, the car didn't die, his connection did.
That's right.
Slide back here, pick up this fight for the second position between Joseph Causey and Joshua Gaffright. Gaffright not gaining a ton, but he's not losing a lot either. And I will say this to kind of put a bow on the Nicholas Lockard situation. That's pretty hardcore dedication to the series to be out here running 93 laps in arrears to the race leaders. He really can only gain a couple of more positions potentially, and yet he's still out here turning laps with a regular season, or a playoff position I should say, all but locked up.
Yeah, I don't know if I would be able to have the patience and the attention span to just sit around and plug laps and hope for a whole lot of death. So I commend him for having the lack of anything else better to do apparently to do this.
Here's the comment from Daryl Rector. Nick actually lost power. That's why he didn't come back on right away, because it wasn't even the internet that went. It was a big old juice box coming out of the wall. It was the downfall of Nicholas Lockard this evening. Off of turn number 4, green and white checkered flag, this time by Greg Holt. Claims the win in stage number 2. And again, we will stay under the green flag as Guy Snyder makes his way down pit road.
Looks like Joseph Causey looking to come down pit road this time as well.
Pick up the stop here for Joseph Causey.
Looked to be very fast coming into it, sliding the rear tires around. I wouldn't be surprised to see a penalty on this stop.
Our buddy Chad Irvine checking in on Twitch. Thank you very much for watching us on that new platform. Also asking if cars have nitrous. They most certainly do not. Except maybe Greg Holt's
in
car.
Before he asked for a wave around.
Greg Holt making his way down pit road with Joshua Gathright, your 2 race leaders on the pit road here at lap 153. I would tend to think...
Now, I'm seeing Joseph...
Go ahead, Patrick.
So I was going to say, I'm seeing Joseph Causey. When he crossed those 2 yellow cones, his speed was 48 miles an hour. He did not get slowed down to 35 miles an hour until the second pit box entering pit road. That might end up being a penalty for that car. As it looks like it is, he's up to a 40-second pit stop now.
Yep, I was going to say, there it is. Joseph Causey serving the penalty on pit road. Painfully watching the field circle around. Causey back out on the racetrack, but the pit road speeding penalty catching up.
This track is very, very tough to make pit road speed because it's such a big, fast track. And the pit road speed is actually the same as at what we have at Bristol and Martinsville. Pit road speed is 30 miles an hour here. They give you a 5-mile-an-hour leeway, so it's really 35 miles an hour, which is very, very difficult to hit after you've just been turning laps going 150, 60, 70 miles an hour.
So now Brian Rumpf and Wendell Elliott, the 2 cars remaining that have not stopped yet. Everybody else is 1 lap or more down to your race leaders. Cue up Paul Tracy to start singing again, because we are back in the danger zone for everybody but Brian Rumpf and Wendell Elliott. There's Joseph Causey coming back around Brian Rumpf. That's going to put him 1 lap down. Excuse me, 2 laps down to the race leader.
I was going to say, he had a 54-second time in his pit box, not including the time entering and exiting pit lane. So with 20-second laps, over a minute in the pit lane, that's going to be 3 laps down, unfortunately, for that car.
Also hearing a penalty for the 98 of Jordan Probst. Came off the apron in turn number 3 on pit entry. That was a drive-through penalty issued by Race Control. Right there for the 98, who's now sitting 3 laps down to the race leader. Here's Brian Rumpf making his way onto pit road. So after last stopping at lap number 102, he's going to come in here at lap 161. everybody should be able to make it the rest of the way on one more stop here. Wendell Elliott, the next car that we're going to anticipate seeing on pit road here in just a little bit. His last stop, however, occurred at lap 123. He's going to have to make 2 more stops to make it to the end of this race. At least we think so anyway. The cars that stopped at lap number 152 are going to be able to run to right around lap 206 here. Trouble on the racetrack for Jordan Props. Let's see what happened to the 98 machine. Trying to come back down the pit road. There it is. Takes the toe back into the pit lane. Couldn't get the car woed up. So he will tow in.
Say, if that was the second time, if he was trying to serve the penalty doing that, that's going to be a double penalty. That's a Denny Hamlin double whammy right there.
Oh, that will hurt. And I'm not even a Denny fan.
I am.
Here's where the strategy for Wendell Elliott may be blowing up here just a little bit, because Greg Holt, you can see the gap just shrinking in a very quick way. Greg Holt cutting over a second per lap out of Wendell Elliott's times. In fact, Elliott's last lap, 23.87 seconds, 22.86. An even 1 second difference between Wendell Elliott and Greg Holt. Slide back here and pick up Holt. In fact, we can show you the lap time difference here. Those gaps are huge, and Greg Holt going to be on the back bumper of your race leader here shortly, and Wendell Elliott still has an additional stop to make. Stat guy Connor Baldwin checking in here saying the longest fourth fuel stint was 52 laps. Right in the mid-range of where we anticipated to see the pit stops. That tells me that we're probably going to see Wendell Elliott have to stop about lap 175.
Pass for lead.
Holt dispatches Elliott rapidly. In fact, he's going to have about 6 car lengths.
I was going to say, it's amazing what 20-lap fresher tires can do to you.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. In fact, the battle for second won't be much of a battle either. It would be interesting to have a chance to talk to Wendell Elliott here to say, what was the thought process on strategy? Because something we have to consider here, guys, is we'll pull the results back and show you the upcoming schedule here for the High Slide Cup Series as we work our way into the playoffs. In 2 weeks, we head to the Kentucky Speedway. No race next week. Happy Independence Day to everybody. We'll give you a night off from listening to this announce crew drone on and on for a couple hours. July 18th, we head to the Michigan Speedway, then Las Vegas, Pocono, and Auto Club. There is not an upcoming track that anywhere closely resembles the Dover International Speedway. So it's not even like you would necessarily be trying to try something out of the ordinary for use in the playoffs.
I don't think there's any track in the country that resembles Dover. This track is just so unique. I'd say the closest thing in terms of difficulty is Darlington, but these two tracks are so extremely different, you can't even compare it to Darlington. I think I would most closely compare this track to either Bristol or even going to the road course side, I would compare it to the Long Beach of oval racing. Because that's what this track feels like to me.
Connor, our stat guy, decided to compare this to iRacing Super Speedway. I feel like that alone should be the big smooth move of the race.
Potentially. So let's give you a full field rundown here as we work our way through lap number 178. Greg Holt is your race leader for Performance Sim Sport. Fantastic run so far tonight for Joshua Gathright, running in the second position. He's up 12 spots from where he started this race 1 hour and 18 minutes ago. Wendell Elliott holding on to the third position. He's going to make his pit stop here at lap 179. Oh, may have clipped the apron.
He did clip the apron from what I saw.
It's going to be a penalty from race control.
See, I don't know. He just kissed it, but half of both of his right side tires did touch the concrete. So, we'll have to see if he's got to make a drive through here.
We'll follow the pit stop for the number 4 machine of Wendell Elliott. He's going to hit his box. Crew goes around to the right-hand side of the racetrack. Now around to the left side of the car, 4 Goodyear Racing Eagles, 2 cans of fuel. He's down and away, 14.62 seconds on the stop for Wendell Elliott. We'll see if there will be a penalty upcoming here. Greg Holt holding on to that 1 second lead over Joshua Gathright. Derek Grigsby 11 seconds back in the third position. That's going to put him a full half of a racetrack behind Greg Holt. And I'll tell you what here, guys, this is really where Greg Holt can just be incredibly dangerous. The guy is so consistently smooth. He's going to rip off laps very, very quickly. And there really isn't much you can do about it except try to stay within the same zip code.
Yeah, it's kind of like fishing without a lure. You're just trying to keep throwing the reel out there, hoping you can kind of reel him in, but it's very, very hard to get him, especially once he's in the zone and just checking out like he is right now.
Battle for the 4th position, Brian Rumpf and Andrew Chapman. Fighting for that position. We're going to see Chapman make his way down onto the pit lane. Looks like no penalty for the number 4 machine. So the 22 with Chapman making his way down into the attention of the number 22 Pepsi crew. I'll tell you what here, James, this part has to be excruciating as a driver. No pit limiter. It literally is drive at street speeds down this pit lane.
This one in particular, because it's one of the slowest pit lane limits in racing. Just trundling down 35 miles an hour after you're going like 160, 170 for laps on end. It's absolutely terrible. And because it's so slow, if you just stop paying attention for the slightest second, next thing you know, it's like, oh, okay, I'm going 40 and I just cratered my race. That's marvelous.
So continuing.
That's why I like these new
Go ahead.
Sorry, I was gonna say that's why I like these new electronic dashboards. Especially like in virtual reality, you can see the green lights on there, and that tells you exactly when you're at pit speed limit. So if it blips red for a second, you know to come off the gas, and you can see that right in your peripheral vision. It's not like the old just single gauge that would light up, because it's very easy to just miss that one gauge. Even though it's got all the lights on it, it's just one small little light in the cockpit in the grand scheme of things. So it's very, very difficult to keep pace speed then. It's a lot easier now, but still far from easy.
Continuing our run through the field here, Derek Grigsby up 8 spots, running in the 3rd position. Good run here for that number 42 machine. Running in the 4th position is Brian Rumpf as he comes to the inside of Joseph Causey off of turn number 2. Oh, trouble for Grigsby down the back straightaway. Grigsby's going to spin. Also potentially trouble here for Andrew Chapman. Caution flag is out. Yellow is out.
And that's going to put us right in our near our pit window for making it to the end of the race if we all stop here.
Little bit of contact.
If you stop.
As Grigsby goes around, let's take a look and see what happened to Andrew Chapman. You see the 22. Grigsby with just a little bit of a bobble. Chapman pounds the inside safer barrier.
That just looks like that Shire move we mentioned from earlier in the broadcast, where you're that car on the inside, it just pushes up just a little bit, and you knock that guy on your high side right into the wall without even meaning to do it. It's very easy to do at this track.
Car 22 and car 42 to the end of the line for this next restart. That is obviously for their involvement in this incident. Now, I'll tell you what here, guys. I don't think the strategy games are over just yet. Because Greg Holt, Brian Rumpf, Evan Kelsey, Guy Snyder, Joshua Gathright, Cody Henderson, all on the pit road. However, if you could only go 52 laps, my math says you are very, very close to not making it.
Yeah, you would need to be fuel saving the entire run to that checkered flag coming out, and a hope and pray there's not a green-white checkered. Otherwise, you are not making it. It's going to be very, very tight, but I think we're right in the middle of that window opening if you can fuel save.
Now let's pick up. Here's Joseph Causey going to make his way down pit road. By staying out, he was able to come around. He grabbed the race lead for a split second while everybody else was pitting. Now Causey will make his pit stop here at lap 194. If you're Guy Snyder, Evan Kelsey, maybe even Brian Rumpf, do you wait and try to take one more stop here right at the end of this caution period?
I think you could. I don't think there's anything really to lose there. My only thing is, if you're on the lead lap and you do not pit the first time pit's open, pit's closed for you until the green flag comes out. So you would need to pit now and then keep kind of walking the car around and re-pitting to keep it topped off.
This is going to be interesting for sure. And let's run you back through the cars that we have on the racetrack and who we don't here. Greg Holt will be your race leader. Yeah, here comes Brian Rumpf. He's showing that he's going to pit this time. So there it is. Oh, well, maybe not. He's going to come back up onto the racetrack. Evan Kelsey and Joseph Causey, however, do come back into the pits. The strategy games that are being played right now, if you could go 52 laps, that's going to put you right now to lap 248. You're still short. However, with one caution flag, it's going to get you there. I don't think Greg Holt and the rest of these guys can make it even with one more caution flag.
It's going to be one heck of a gamble. Gotta hope for there's another caution. Otherwise, this is going to be a fuel mileage race to end all fuel mileage.
Yeah, and then the other question becomes, what about the green-white checkered? In that case, everybody has to come anyway. Going to be interesting for sure, but how about it? One more time before the end of this race. Let's give you fans a chance to crank it up. Battle for the race lead into turn number 3. Cody Henderson dives it way deep. Full send into turn 3. Huge slide for the 710.
Oh, no.
Oh, what a
Saves it.
save.
Wow.
My goodness. Let's get you another look at this one here. Cody Henderson
Just touches
does
the
it
wall
again.
I thought for sure he was coming back up the track. I thought that had mass death written all over it.
Joseph Causey back on the lead lap and may be fighting for a race win here. Coming around Derek Grigsby, that car, the 42 machine, laps down after the repairs following the incident. Wendell Elliott, the first car one lap down. A caution flag is going to get him into a very good position to fight for the race win here. Only 7 cars remain on the lead lap. Working lap 202. Only 90 minutes into this race. Teams clicking laps off in a big-time hurry here around the Dover International Speedway. Joshua Gafford just ahead of Guy Snyder off in turn 2. Top 4 cars all separated by less than 1 second. Tell you what here, James, the rule change of no backup cars, I think, has had the intended effect here this evening at Dover, because We've only had 3 caution periods thus far. One on lap 33 for a 2-car incident, stage break at lap 100, and then right here just a few minutes ago at lap 192 for the incident between Derek Grigsby and Andrew Chapman.
Yeah, but the series seemed kind of backwards with that. Like how tracks you'd expect to be disasters, like the restrictor plate tracks, were very, very clean, but tracks you expected to be clean, like all the mile and a halves, were absolute chaotic wreckfest. So I feel like regardless would have been a fairly forward race, but yeah, giving them no backup plan, it definitely helps assure that guys are going to be using their head really well.
Patrick, you talked about having to go into full fuel save mode, and let's pick up the 0-2 of Evan Kelsey. He is fuel saving in epic proportions. 23 flat are the lap times for the race leaders, 24:14 the last lap for Evan Kelsey.
Yeah, I almost wonder if he's just dumping the clutch in these corners, letting it roll all the way through and picking it back up down the straightaways, because he is visually slower than all the rest of the cars. So I wonder what he's doing, but hopefully it works out for him.
Yeah, you could hear it on the entry to 3 here. Let's ride along with Evan Kelsey.
I was going to say, you can hear him pushing the clutch in on the entry to the corners.
And he's only getting to about half throttle down the straightaways as well. How about this? Wendell Elliott, running by his lonesome, just set the fastest lap of the race, 22.06 seconds. He's a full second faster than your race leader right now.
I think it's a little too late for Wendell Elliott, though. I mean, he's still got a very, very fast car, but 3 laps down, I just don't know if that's something he can recover from. All right, going back to Evan Kelsey for a second. The leaders are entering turn 4 now. Evan Kelsey is only just crossing the start-finish line. So, at what point does this fuel saving quit being worth it? Because if he goes a lap down or more, then there's nothing he could do if all these guys have to pit.
It's almost like he's committing to the strategy here. To use the IndyCar reference, the Scott Dixon in-car oil refinery, as it was called amongst the producers here. If you make that much fuel in fuel savings, that may be all it takes. The problem is if the caution flag comes out, it blows the strategy call up completely. Where Kelsey really isn't at much of a disadvantage here is that there's only 7 cars on the lead lap. Even if he goes a lap down, he's going to get the lucky dog and be the only car right at the tail end of the lead lap. One of the things we're keeping an eye on here as well, the other car that's going to have to save the fuel is Joseph Pazzi. He stopped at lap 195, 2 laps after the rest of the race leaders. He's not doing as much fuel saving as what Evan Kelsey is doing right now. Still running in the 4th position and only about a 1/10 and a half behind the times of your leaders.
It looks like Evan Kelsey's picked up pace a little bit now that he knows the leaders are pretty much right behind him. He's now about half a lap ahead of these leaders, or I guess behind the leaders. So maybe he's done the math. He knows he has enough fuel to go now. He's just going to go full send to the end, or maybe 75% send, and try and get himself the win when all these cars have to come down pit lane.
Yeah, it's maybe a little bit big of a gamble here for Evan Kelsey, but I tell you what, man, not the worst way you could try to shoot your shot here at Dover International Speedway. Joseph Causey now going to be fighting with Ryan Rumpf. That's the other problem that Kelsey has, is if Causey can make the finish, his massive fuel save doesn't make a lick of difference.
It might get him a second place finish.
Now, here's where this really starts to get interesting here looking at this. Evan Kelsey is on the outside looking in, heading into tonight's race in terms of the points. Not necessarily must win to get in, but it's about as close as you could get. He had 192 points heading into tonight. The final car in the playoffs, Mark McCurdy, has 252 points. McCurdy's going to finish in the 15th position. Nathan Aldridge, who is currently, he will be in the playoffs, or at least he should be anyway, did not start here tonight. Alan Martin is the next car up on the list. Alan Martin is not in tonight's race. So we have several cars that did not start tonight's race that Evan Kelsey may be able to catch up on here with even a 42-point run. Doing the spitball kind of back of the napkin math.
Ooh.
Oh, what the world?
Man, that was a big...
Just looks like the 65 got loose and almost hit the 98, but hey, they both got out of it all right, I think.
Pick up your three race leaders, Greg Holt, Joshua Gathright, and Guy Snyder. These cars all running within about a second of each other. Joseph Causey an additional 3/4 of a second back. You can see your top four in the shot there. We're down to 25 laps to go here at Dover. And still a lot of racing to play out here yet. This one's going to be fun to watch all the way to the end. Based on the 52-lap number that was the longest stint we've had, looks like the numbers are going to play out. Race leader Greg Holt can potentially make it to lap 245, which would put him 5 laps short of the finish here. Evan Kelsey, Joseph Causey could potentially go to lap 247. 6 laps of fuel is a lot of fuel to save, but it's not undoable. Evan Kelsey, however,
Evan
now
Kelsey
just in front of the
about to
race
get
leader.
lapped.
Yep. This is really the commitment that Kelsey has made, though. He knows that you're going to lose 2 laps if you stop under 3. He can go a lap down. That's not a problem. He just can't go 2 laps down. Great question we're seeing here is, if you know you can't make it, is it worthwhile for Greg Holt, Joshua Gathright, or Guy Snyder to pit early rather than trying to run the overcut?
Part of me wants to say yes, because then you're on fresher tires for more of this run. However, part of me wants to say no. If you can make it to lap 245 and you decide to pit now at lap 235, caution comes out lap 240, now you've just pretty much screwed yourself. So I can see the reasoning for wanting to stay out as long as possible, and I can also see the reasoning for wanting to pit now. Either way, it's going to be a gamble what you do, and as we know with gambling, there's a winner and a loser, so I just don't know which side of that coin I'd want to be on.
It's going to be an interesting run here as we're going to be down to 15 laps to go. This next time by, Greg Holt, the race leader, by 2/3 of a second over Joshua Gathright. Guy Snyder running in the 3rd position. 23:93, the lap time for Greg Holt and Joshua Gathright. Guy Snyder at a 24:03 was the lap time. These guys are now in that same kind of fuel-saving lap times that we saw Evan Kelsey run this entire stint.
Yeah, but at this point it might be too little, too late.
Yeah, for Evan Kelsey now, I think right now is the time where he needs to get back on it, start making some moves on these people, as they're all just starting to fuel save. So if I were him, I'd be trying to get that lap back, because you're only going to lose that 2 laps if the car that's lapping you is going full pace. If he's not going full pace, he's going half pace or however slow he's decided to go, I don't know if he's going to put you that full 2 laps down.
That's true. Kelsey is going to have to get on the loud pedal if he sees these cars duck onto pit road. Let's take a look here. Let's go on board with race leader Greg Holt. See what his fuel save sounds like. Not grabbing the clutch yet.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like he's really doing any fuel saving at all.
Lap time starting to bear that out as well. I mean, these cars are approaching the end of the tire run as well, as we're down to 10 laps to go here at Dover. 23.98, 24 flat. That's kind of right in the ballpark of what we expect to see in terms of lap time with the tire fall off. I tell you what here, guys, Evan Kelsey was actually the fastest car on the racetrack, on the lead, among the lead lap cars anyway, that last lap.
But I don't even see him in the picks.
No, he's in the middle of 3 as the leaders are off at turn number 4. Basically, if you look at it here, this is using the 40 seconds or so that we talked about earlier in the race of what your pit lap time is. Greg Holt would come out about half a lap behind Evan Kelsey if he had to make a pit stop. Factor in the lesser time frame of only taking a splash of fuel.
And these guys aren't going to be taking tires this late in the run.
Correct. And actually, we can update the math here and kind of give you a pretty specific look at it. How about Evan Kelsey having less than a quarter of a racetrack advantage? He's saved enough fuel. He's saved enough fuel and everybody else has to pit. Things are looking very, very good for Evan Kelsey right now. Lap 246 on the scoreboard. 5 to go here at Dover. Can Greg Holt, Joshua Gathright, Guy Snyder, Joseph Causey, Brian Rumpf, or Cody Henderson make the fuel last the rest of the way? We haven't even talked about Cody Henderson or Brian Rumpf in this discussion yet either. They stopped at lap 193 as well. I would imagine if you're any of these cars on the lap 193 strategy, you're committed at this point. You're no way are you taking fuel, because the worst that's going to happen is you finish in 7th.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you're committed to this. You're full send right now. There's nothing you can do. Joshua Gathright wants to get this win. It's not going to put him into the playoffs, unfortunately, but he just wants it just to have that little win marker right next to his name, so. It's going to be interesting to see how hard he's willing to push Greg Holt to come down to 2 laps to go.
Off of turn number 4, it'll be white flag this time by for Greg Holt. Does the fuel last? It's gonna be tight. Down the back straightaway, Gathright not closing whatsoever. Off of turn number 4, checkered flag in the air. What a drive. Greg Holt claims the win here at the Dover International Speedway over Joshua Gathright, Guy Snyder, Joseph Causey, Brian Rumpf, Cody Henderson, Evan Kelsey, Derek Grigsby, Wendell Elliott, and Jordan Probst, your top 10. A race that took 1 hour and 49 minutes to complete 250 circuits around the Dover International Speedway. Very, very impressive run. Show you your race results here. "19 cars started this race and only 6 will finish on the lead lap." Absolutely unreal drive for Greg Holt. Holt going to burn them down here at the start-finish line. "57 laps on that final fuel run for Greg Holt. What an absolutely epic drive here tonight for Greg. We'll get our top 3 ready to go here for the interviews. We will kick off our post-race interviews here with our third place finisher this evening, the number 27 of Guy Snyder. That Pengrade Chevrolet Camaro looked pretty darn good out there tonight, Guy. And a great run. You came up 10 spots from the drop of the green. Tell us about your night.
Yeah, it was a real good night. It was a little bit up and down, but just these long Dover races, you just hang in there and keep your car decently clean and try to get a good finish.
It was kind of interesting to see how you started to make the one strategy. You were going to try to play out one strategy. It seemed like you might have shifted gears to get back on the same strategy with Greg and the other leaders. How did that evolve throughout the course of the race?
Yeah, you're exactly right. I kind of changed a couple times there. What I wanted to do was save a set of tires, like if we would have had a late yellow here, and I figured the only way to do that would be either not to take tires before the stage yellow at 100 laps or at the stage yellow. And I was thinking, well, if I pit, and then I just basically what I did was I pitted 5 laps before the stage because I was out of gas, and then I just went out there and just coasted for 5 laps, basically just stayed on the lead lap. So I would have been interested to see what my tire wear actually was, but I would assumed they were like 98, 99%. So that's what I did there. It I don't know. It didn't work the best, but it was worth a shot.
Well, great run for you tonight here, and a lot of momentum. You won't be one of our playoff drivers, but now you get to play the role of spoiler over the next handful of races here as we get ready to close out the season.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, I would have liked to get a win. I don't know if that would have put me in. I don't know how. I don't even know, but um, but I wasn't running for points there, so I was really just try and take care of everybody, and but yeah, I'll try to win some races anyway.
All right, bud. Well, congratulations on the top 3 finish tonight. Who would you like to thank?
First off, I got to thank Garrett for putting the league on. He deals with a lot of complaints, and some of them are mine, and he does a great job putting this league on and puts a lot of effort into it, and I really appreciate that he even lets me run it. Then I got to thank my spotter, Andrew Moore. I got to thank my teammates, and also got to thank you guys for putting this on. I can't wait to go back and watch it.
All right, Guy. Well, thank you very much. Good luck over the rest of the season here. Let's pick up our runner-up finisher this evening, Joshua Gathright. At one point tonight, Joshua, I think you were a lap or laps down. Ultimately, you gained 12 spots to come home in a runner-up position behind a very strong Greg Holt. So, fantastic run. Tell us about your race.
Well, yeah, I think I was 2 laps down. I kept it to 2 laps, but I came out with leader on my Tuchus, so that kicked it into high gear. But that first caution, everyone pit and took tires, and I didn't want to do that. I wanted to save a set, so I just went ahead and took fuel, and I was going to run the fuel out, but I quickly realized I was losing way too much time, so I short pit and got enough fuel and tires to take me to the stage, and stayed on lead lap and dug and dug and dug, and somehow finished second.
Well, yeah, it was a great run tonight. And how does your thought process change when you see the one strategy start to implode? You have to real quickly get yourself to another one, and then you have to fight as hard as you did to get back up into the top 3.
Yeah, I think it's just time on the sim and racing experience in general. I call it pacing. So I have a primary plan, an alternative plan, a contingent plan, and an emergent plan. So I kind of have 4 different strategies laid out before the race, and I can quickly jump to whichever one I need to keep going and try to stay competitive.
Preparation is the name of the game for sure. So congratulations on the runner-up finish here tonight. And who would you like to thank as we get ready to head into the playoffs?
I just want to give a big old shout out to everyone watching here at Firehouse Gaming. Definitely Burnt Out Apparel, our sponsor, Burnt Out Apparel. Check them out at burntouapparel.com. And Performance Sim Sport. I don't know if you noticed, but me, Greg, Kazi, Wendell, a few other guys were all Performance Sim Sport. So shout out to the team.
All right, bud. Fantastic run for you tonight here. And let's pick up our race winner here. The first question I got to ask is, because you made us look dumb, we had you having to stop with about 3 laps to go. How did you stretch the fuel while running race leading lap times?
I just clutched it for the first 15 laps. At this place, you're carrying so much speed, it almost doesn't even change the way it runs when you clutch it if you clutch it right.
Well, the drive
Worked
was
out all right.
I was going to say it worked out plenty good for you, and the drive was really pretty impressive here because you had different cars on your bumper throughout the night, but it wasn't the dominating performance that we've seen before where you run out to a 10 or 12 second lead. This was really a battle throughout this race.
Yeah, it's just, you gotta fuel mileage and saving the tires and not burning them up and trying to make the other guys when they're trying to get by use them up a little bit more. That was what the strategy was. Keep them close, but don't let them by. A couple of them got by there a couple times in the pit strategies and stuff, but it's all good. It was a fun race, a fun, clean race.
I was going to say very clean. And does that change your mentality over the course of the run here when you know you're not going to get the caution flags that we've seen in the last few weeks?
Yeah, well, that was the deal. That last run, I just knew I just needed to save, 0.6, 0.7. And quite honestly, I don't even think I needed to save that. I finished with 0.67 in the tank. So it's hard. But yeah, maybe. It depends. There weren't that many cars here compared to what we normally have. So you only got 13 running. It makes a huge difference. There's not going to be too many chances for contact between them.
Well, Greg, congratulations on another fantastic win tonight. Got to be a big confidence boost as you head here into the playoffs. And who would you like to thank?
I'd like to give a shout out to Garrett for putting on High Slide. Thank you guys for doing the broadcast. And a shout out to all my guys at Performance Sim Sport. And Wendell, Causey, and Joshua, my teammates in here that were on the track. It was a good night. We had some pretty dominant cars up front for most of it.
Yes, sir, you did. Congratulations on the victory once again. And I tell you what here, guys, as we get ready to wrap up our coverage from the Dover International Speedway, this race was really fun to watch here. It wasn't as close as we thought on fuel, but it wasn't far off either.
Yeah, this was definitely a fuel mileage race. All of these guys here tonight played it incredibly well. We didn't have a race where a couple guys were running out of fuel, a couple guys had way too much fuel. It was all very tight for all of them.
Yeah, and James, now we're kind of into the part of the season where the running for points is over. Now you got to be at the front here over the next handful of races if you want to call yourself a High Slide Cup Series champion.
Yep, this is where we're going to see the cream of the crop right top. If you want to make it happen, you have to happen on track. Going to see everyone bringing their absolute A game over the next few weeks, try to see if they can pull this off.
Yes, sir, that is for sure. But with that, we're going to start to wrap up our coverage here from the Dover International Speedway. I have to say a big thank you to James Watson and Patrick Byrne for their assistance in the booth tonight. Gresham Holla, Magdazak, Connor Baldwin, our producers, camera designers. Absolutely fantastic work, as always, everybody here this evening. And before we go, we want to make sure we get all the thank yous in here. We didn't even get to do these for the most part over the course of the race here, but got to say a big thank you to Hot Shoe Racewear. Find them online at hotshoeracewear.com, whether it's workwear, streetwear, or most importantly, your racewear. Hot Shoe Racewear is going to have you looking your best. Also, promotional items, anything you need printed, screen printed, embroidered, sublimated, doesn't matter what it is. Hot Shoe Racewear is going to have you covered in a pretty big way there. Check them out online at hotshoeracewear.com. Zone Garage of Eastern Pennsylvania and New Jersey is your one-stop shop for the best in floor coatings and treatments. Everything from epoxy floor coatings to custom designs and your own artwork in the finished product. Zone Garage of Eastern Pennsylvania and New Jersey will have your floors covered. Find them on Facebook at Zone Garage of Eastern Pennsylvania and New Jersey. Ray's Import Auto Repair is family-owned and operated shop, and when you choose Ray's Import Auto Repair, you are choosing trained, ASE-certified technicians, the highest quality parts, the latest equipment, and the newest technology to diagnose and repair your vehicle. Conveniently schedule online at raysimportautorepair.net. Locker.it provides offensive and defensive cybersecurity solutions for companies of all sizes. For more information, visit locker.it or call 855-999-6425 to get started. Aquatic Express Pool Service, they clean and maintain pools. They also specialize in pool equipment repair. Make sure you check them out at aquaticexpress.com. Also need to say a big thank you to Alarm Technology Security Systems for their support of the High Slide Cup Series. But with that, we got a big week of racing action here, both in the real world and on the virtual side of things as well. Tomorrow night, the Silver Crown Cup at 9:45 p.m. in the Eastern Time Zone. Tuesday night, the doubleheader is back with the sprint cars at 9 p.m. Coming up at 10 will be the TNT PM18 All-Oval Series presented by Carolina Simworks. Wednesday night, the High Slide Hustle is off because we're in the middle of 10 days of 410 sprint car racing everywhere around the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Check out our Facebook and YouTube pages for the post-race interviews with Burt Wojcik and Adam Rubright. Thursday night, the doubleheader of racing action comes back to you, the Esri IndyCar Series at 8 p.m. in the East, followed by the Indy Pro 2000 Official Series. Friday night, we're going to have another doubleheader, but this time a real-world racing action. Snydersville Raceway will be live showing the karts once again next Friday night. Also, the radio call from Lindis Speedway in Jonestown, Pennsylvania. And on Saturday, we've been hyping this for months, the DeWeather Cares Charity Softball Classic. It is going to be a dumpster fire of absolutely epic proportions. You don't want to miss the broadcast that will be coming up here from Rescue 51 Field in Emerald, Pennsylvania. Then we're back next Sunday night with the High Slide Cup Series kicking off the playoffs from Kentucky Speedway. What a fantastic time to be a fan and a viewer of the National Racing Network. But with that, we're going to close out the coverage for this evening by saying thank you very much to everybody who tuned in. We appreciate you checking in the comments. We look forward to talking to you soon. For James Watson, Patrick Byrne, my name's Chris Graham. It's been a pleasure to have you hanging out with us this evening. We will talk to you soon. Have a great night, everybody.
This Independence Day weekend, kick your party off with a bang. DeWeather Center presents the first annual DeWeather Cares Charity Softball Classic presented by the National Racing Network. The Palmerton Boobies, DeWeather Center Bluecocks, Blue Mountain I-95ers, Pocono Front Platers, Schuylkill County Crackers, Reading Nurses, Catasauqua Blue Tits, and Beltsville Lake Monsters will take the field in Emerald. Find out more on Facebook at DeWeather Center. DeWeather Center, offensively accurate.